the biggest secret you keep from your partner? Story 1. That I'm not happy with my life, and it has nothing to do with you, but I find it hard to feel joy for anything these days. Edit. I didn't expect to get this many responses, let alone ones that empathized and got as deep as they have. I appreciate everyone who gave advice and shared their experiences and feelings. I wish nothing but happiness for all of you, and hope that you achieve whatever your heart desires. I myself am taking it a day at a time, and try to help those around me, as that's what brings me some small happiness. I love my partner very, very much, and hope to be with them for the rest of my life, as they are the only consistent form of happiness I can think of in my life. Story 2. I love our morning routine so much I often pretend to be asleep even when I wake up first. My man sleeps like a log, like a dead log, but every time he wakes up, no matter how tired he is, he rolls over to me and hugs me and gives me a good morning forehead kiss. Whether or not I'm awake, I love them so much. So much that sometimes when I wake up earlier than him, I nudge him out of his sleep, then pretend to be asleep, just so I can feel him slowly waking up and rolling over to give me that forehead kiss. It's only been like half a year with him, but that one tiny thing releases a million butterflies inside my heart and stomach, and I can't wait to experience it every single day when I can finally live with the love of my life. Story 3. That I am responsible for the house fire that burned our house down several years ago. It was an accident, and I was too ashamed to admit. Don't worry guys, I came clean a couple of years back. Story 4. I am physically repulsed by my wife. I still love her, spending time with her and find her physically attractive after all these years, but after a dead bedroom for so many years now and being pushed away so often whenever I initiate, and attempting anything more than a peck results in an ewe from her. I've basically pulled back to protect myself. Anytime I think of cuddling, spooning or showing physical affection, to initiate or not, I now find myself feeling physically sick about it because I know the response I'll get, so I just don't bother. I keep up appearances by the occasional touch or backstroke as I'm walking past, but it's all one-way traffic, and when I do, I have to stop myself from rolling my eyes so loud that someone notices. I'm hesitant to walk away completely because we genuinely work well together, have a great life, kids are awesome, etc. We've talked it through time and time again. I've worked on the problems she raised to better myself, and am far from perfect, but I have made strides now. I'm finding myself pulling back more and more, and becoming more selfish as I just don't give a. I know this is making her angry too, which is not healthy either. I don't even bring up my concerns about our relationship anymore because what's the point? I do what I need to maintain our day-to-day lives, but I've basically stopped maintaining my side of the relationship until I see any reason to resume. I'm lying here on our nearly 20 years anniversary while she sleeps, and not a single kiss or hug all day because I didn't make the move. Edit. Thanks all. Just knowing others have been here too and survived makes me feel better about it all. These have given me some good ideas to work through before I decide it's beyond saving. Addressing a couple of points that were raised. Life has never been close to what I wanted either in frequency or variety, but it was 1-2x a month which I could live with if that's all that she needed. Now it's 1-2x a year. I love foreplay, but she's always found many aspects of gross, so shed rather it's over sooner. It dropped off hard after kid 1, then only picked up slightly when trying for kid 2. She's always concerned about the kids hearing or visiting us, but nothing can happen when we have the place to ourselves either. Mother-maid dynamic. Yes, we both fell into this early on in our relationship, and it's been one of the things she's raised and I've worked on since then. It's still leveraged towards her today. Some of this is due to her desire to control and manage. It's just who she is, versus my casual approach. If I cook dinner, I have to cook her dinner, her way, and she gets antsy if I change ingredients or QNTY. I do most of the household cleaning and outside work. However, I feel like the more I contribute here, the less responsive she has become. No big vices or other behaviors that cause conflict. Don't drink, gamble, womanize, and I am more financially responsible than she is. Maybe my biggest problem is just that I'm boring, but we're both homebody introverts. I've talked to all this endlessly with her. We do have a pretty good record of talking things out and addressing problems, except this one doesn't change. I've raised what I need versus what we do, how I feel rejected constantly, or that it feels like we're just friends raising kids. She's mentioned that she's not a toucher, so I try to back off, which just makes it worse. Shed rather I did things for her, but this is difficult due to her needing to know. I booked a dinner at her usual restaurant to play it safe as a surprise, but she wouldn't go unless I told her where. My telling of this makes it sound worse than it is. She acknowledges that she has control issues. I completely acknowledge I'm far from perfect. I have had anger-depressive episodes over the years, never abusive, but difficult to live with. These have come right in recent years after hitting the wall mentally and seeking help. She's so much happier with who I am now, but again, the level of attention has reduced further. My meds also don't help with getting it over quickly. Anyway, thanks again for the support and advice. I hope we can all find peace. I've never really liked his family's famous chicken recipe. It's always been a huge hit with all his family members. My kids love it, but if you ask me, Chuch's is better. Story 5. How I get myself to sleep is by replaying our in my mind. Old and new, it's something that makes me just feel content and happy. Something about his facial expressions and noises he makes just fill me with pride that he feels good from what I do to please him. It makes the bad days go away and brings in the connection of love. As cheesy as it sounds, it helps me sleep without nightmares. Afraid to express this kind of thing for the simple fact I don't want to hear my husband tease me for the rest of my life when he has plenty of ammo as it is. This man is far too strong with the light-hearted dirt he has on me. Story 6 that I'm worried about her lack of hobbies. I've tried to encourage her to find something to fill her time. She is the love of my life and the best partner and my best friend. But she goes to work and plays mindless mobile phone games, and that's it. It worries me that this will become a pattern that's passed on to our future kids. I'm very open to suggestions about how to approach this because I'm at a loss of how to do it delicately. Our relationship is great in every other aspect. Life is too full of opportunities and interesting things to spend your time staring at an iPhone all afternoon. Story 7 absolutely nothing. My wife has stood by my side through aggressive stage 3 cancer at a young age, through chronic nerve pain that shoots from my pelvis down both legs thanks to a mesh failure for my third major operation, and through a 9-year battle with opioid addiction that followed. She knows everything about me from my darkest moments to my weirdest kinks. Honestly, at this point, I could probably confess to being Batman and she'd just ask if I remembered to take the garbage out. Story 8 My ex-wife thought I was having maybe 3 drinks a night and the hangovers were just getting worse. I was getting older, to be fair. She never saw me take more than 3 drinks. I didn't want to worry her. I was drinking about 20 to 30 drinks equivalent. I was just turning up on the bottle at that point a night before I quit. She hit me with that Uno Reverso card though by her boss. I've been sober about 8 years and the only thing my fiancé doesn't know is sometimes instead of renovating our basement I just put on my work clothes and go play on my phone. I need alone time. Story 9 Sometimes his ADHD drives me insane to the point I daydream about living in my own little apartment by myself. Then I remember how much I love the life we have built and my patience for him comes back. To be fair, he has improved leaps and bounds since we met. I'm just a perfectionist and very rigid. We balance each other out. Story 10 I rewatch shows movies with her so that she thinks we're watching it for the first time. LMAO, we have a thing where if one of us watched a show there is no way and the other person is going to watch it. Needs to be new for both of us. Story 11 I know he did actually get us kicked out of the hotel we were staying in for our honeymoon and that he lied about it because he was embarrassed and I would have lost my edit. I typed what I said out loud here. I let him think I believe I left it at home by accident. That is one of the other secrets. I know he lost my wedding ring when we went on a vacation about 10 years ago. I know he bought a replacement but I'll never tell him I know. He felt so guilty he almost told me a few times. Story 12 I'm not sure I know what true love is. Almost all of my relationships have followed the same pattern. Infatuation, she's pretty and cool and seems like the one. In reality, she was probably just nice to me for 5 minutes or acted interested in something I had to say. The capture and conquest, I have to have her, I have to make her want me. We have the honeymoon period, this is wonderful, I am loved, this could be forever. The creeping rot, I get jealous, sometimes about virtually nothing. Things seem too good to be true, she is probably lying or exaggerating her feelings. It's serious, we move in together, we start talking long-term plans, maybe even discuss marriage or kids. Over it, I want out, I self-sabotage, I get mean and try to chase them away, am constantly jealous. I start to wonder if I ever really did feel love, or I just need the space in my life filled with someone else. There's a section in the book Brief Interviews with Hideous Men that made me take a really uncomfortable look at this pattern. I think the character says something along the lines of him, just not a closer. It's always the same, I get what I want, and suddenly I don't want it anymore. By the way, if any single ladies are reading this, and want their hearts broken, my DMs are always open. Story 13 I hide candy and chocolates by my side of the bed. Sometimes forbidden sneaky candies just taste better eating in the dark and doom scrolling on Reddit. Story 14 I crashed my car the other day. He came round last night, asked me if I needed any cash he would help. It was sweet, but I lied, said it was fine. I can't afford to pay for it, but I don't want to tell him this. He already does so much for me. Story 15 that I had with my ex-wife a week after we started dating. I didn't know she'd eventually become my wife and me and my ex had been talking right before we met. Story 16 I know how often they browse multiple times a day, and at work that they lied and made a new account instead of deleting Reddit after promising they were done with using it. Story 17 My wife don't know what's my real name. I have been in French Foreign Legion so 9 years. I come originally from Japan, and now living and have a family here in France. When I started training in FFL they remove your real identity and reposted a new one. Now I never retired from the FFL so my new identity is still me. Story 18 Too many things from my last partner but nothing from my current one. I've learned from my mistakes and am not going back. It's so freeing and so comforting to know that she knows everything and still accepts me and loves me. Story 19 that I'm actually very ticklish. When we were dating, she would tickle me and I would hold it in at all costs and deadpan tell her that I'm just not ticklish. I did this because I hate being tickled and hope she would stop because it was a waste of time. It worked. 23 years later and she still thinks I'm not ticklish, but I am. Story 20 I am super jealous of this one online friend he has, because I can hear his true laughter. I have no idea what his mind is thinking when he's talking to them or him. I'm not sure about their pronoun. I try to listen in if it's super late, which sucks because it makes my insecurity worse. Maybe he settled for me because I know there's better than me out there. He knows I love him but he doesn't know I would pull the ground he walks on to make them gold for him. We are married 2 years in September and have big plans for next year. To be honest, I wish he was obsessed with me a little more. Also, if you haven't read, I'm insecure and trying to work on it. Story 21 My wife is an avid metal detectorist, her word, not mine, rock collector, and hoarder of shiny things. When we first got together, she told me once how she's really good at finding coins in the street. We lived downtown and walked to get around. we traveled all over North America. And everywhere we went, I'd toss coins out up ahead of us if she wasn't paying attention and then walk past them, stop and hover for a sec until she'd see it, and then congratulate her on her find. She would get so excited. She caught me once at LaGuardia. It was a 50-cent piece made too much noise. She found it immediately, then asked if I threw it. Then I watched her figure out in real time that I was Kaiser Soze this whole time. She was heartbroken lol, so I just tell her everything now. Story 22. I've been married 20 years next year. I don't keep any secrets from my wife. After me, she's my favorite person in the world, followed by our kids. She knows everything. Don't keep secrets from your partners, kids. Story 23. I lost my virginity freshman year to a junior after me and my original freshman girlfriend broke up. Me and the original girl started dating again a few months after, and she thought we lost our virginity to each other during fall of sophomore year. Story 24. It was that when my cancer came back, it was stage 4. I went from 2020 to 2025 keeping it as a secret. Unfortunately, one night I got drunk and let it slip. I didn't want her to worry too much. Story 25. I'm madly in love with him, and my heart will never recover when we break up. I'm just playing it cool and trying to enjoy the moment for now, but every day that passes is a day closer to my never wanting to love again. Story 26. That I think I don't deserve her. I don't deserve her comfort. I don't deserve her care, nor do I think I deserve her love. My mind's been with me for so long that the idea of having someone like her is a big no, cause in my head I always have something telling me that I will it all up no matter how hard I try. And well, I guess her being not that expressive of herself doesn't really help me. Said I will wait when she's comfortable enough to be expressive, but I just don't know till how long I can wait. Story 27. My chronic pain is far worse than I let on, but I don't want to alarm him or anyone or sound too negative. I've been to specialists. There's nothing I can do, so I found little ways to manage the pain, but some days it's so unbearable I can hardly exist. Story 28. This is a wholesome secret, but when he's not around I tell our son to say Papa. He's only 5 months old right now, but I'm hoping my partner will get to share a special moment with our son like that. Of course when we are together it's say Mama, no say Papa, just because it's fun, but secretly I'm rooting for him to say Papa first and will not tell him I've been telling baby say Papa all day when he's at work. I want him to feel special, so I'm going to keep it to myself. Story 29. I was raped by a man when I was 18. I'm a man. I don't feel the need to unpack it all with her. Secretly, I'm afraid it might make her see me differently. I have spent a lifetime unpacking all of this myself and feel I'm in a good place despite what happened so many years ago. It's ugly and not something I want to introduce into my loving relationship with my wife, nor is it something I want to rehash. Story 30. I want a break, just a weekend where I can be alone with no titles. Don't call or text me either. Take a walk, enjoy some shopping, eat fruit until my stomach hurts, then curl under my blanket with a good book and a flashlight. I need a mental health weekend. Story 31. I gave up soda coke a while ago. I told him to stay on top of me to not drink it. Horrible habit, but once a month I'm out grocery shopping and I stop at McDonald's for a Coke. Something in that machine calls me. I finish it and trash it with no evidence left behind. Story 32. Up until last year, I kept a little plate with lines of Coke on it under my bathroom sink, and I'd sneak off for a line here and there while we were relaxing and watching TV after work. I don't do it anymore, but she absolutely hates the stuff, so I did this in secret for like 3 years. Story 33. About how much money we have, our bills and expenses. I always tell him that we are doing fine even though we're not. We owe more than what my husband thinks. I've always been the one to pay the bills and manage our finances. Story 34. He is the complete opposite of what I want and need at this point of my life. He wants to party, drink, and be out all the time. I want nice dinners, shows, fun and interesting experiences with someone intelligent, kind, thoughtful and mature. I don't even really like him anymore. He is not a good person. I just need his rent money. I am miserable. Story 35. I really like gaming. I built my own PC and didn't share the cost of few components. Only those who she asked for, so no lies technically. Still, she grew up in different environment and it has been rough road for her to accept my hobbies. Her sister clearly stated that gaming is not for mature men. So disrespectful. But it takes time to make people to think otherwise. Even more sad is that my 3080 card what I bought during COVID for 1K can't keep up with actual games already. Story 36. My gay cousin has caught my father-in-law on Grindr on numerous occasions. My wife and my mother-in-law haven't the slightest clue. I will never tell them. Story 37. That I don't know if I'm happy or not in my relationship half the time. I love my wife and my son and wouldn't trade anything for my family, but the second-guessing doubt gnawing at myself just eats me for no good rational reason. Story 38. My bank account. I didn't know how much she made, but I knew how much she spent. I can keep a pretty close running total in my head from month to month. She didn't know how much my salary was when I was a grade foreman at a road construction company. I paid the rent and she paid the house bills. We split the grocery bill each week. She'd pay half of the checkout and I'd pay the other half. She didn't know my hourly pay either when I went back to the mill. I guess she always wondered how much money I had because I'd take her and 6 or 8 people out on the boat on Saturdays when I was off and was nothing to spend $500 on everything: food, drinks, dock fee and gas. Hers is hers and mine is mine. Story 39. I have a secret stack of Oreos that I put in the cabinet above the fridge. My wife is quite short and I know they are safe there. Sometimes I need a couple Oreos and I need to know they are going to be there when that time comes. Story 40. Not me, but my ex-husband. We were married for 8 years, together for 10, 2 kids, didn't tell me he was gay, I found out from his affair partner's partner, we're now getting a divorce. Story 41 Nothing. I feel comfortable enough to tell him anything and everything, even more so than my parents or my doctor. The only secret is my exact home address since we are in a LDR. I won't give that away until my family is comfortable having him over once he comes to visit. Story 42 I'm slightly okay that our wedding date was delayed. It's given me more time to work on learning the ASL to one of the songs I want played so I can surprise him with it. He hates surprises, he's gonna cry. I'm gonna make my husband cry at our wedding, probably. Sorry not sorry babe. Story 43 that I use Reddit as a diary. I don't want him going through my phone the same way I wouldn't want him going through my diary. I don't want him knowing my thoughts on things before I'm ready to confront him about it. Story 44 that the reason I do the chores is to make him happy and to keep busy so my brain doesn't have time to be sad or angry. Also why I get so happy when I see him and the kids devouring dinner makes me happy is that it's the only hobby I do constantly that I feel makes worthwhile, and it's not something that's a waste of money.
He does the chore so he stay happy.
Story 45 I often daydream about being somewhere else with someone else. It's not his fault, but I am unfulfilled and unmotivated because I chose to spend my life with him instead of chase my dreams. Story 46 that I work a lot harder than she knows on my depression, journaling, phone calls with therapists, my diet and exercise routine. A lot of effort goes into keeping that depression demon at bay. She knows my history and everything, just not that I have to keep on top of it every day and it gets exhausting. She knows I have bad days, just not how bad they can be. I love her and just don't want to worry her or burden her with it. Story 47 when she starts snoring I know she is in a deep enough sleep that I can rub one out. When I finish, I sneak to the bathroom and wash down the drain. If that woke her up, I just had to pee. Story 48 her friends would hit on me and try make moves to which I refused to cause my girl at the time. Was already a wild one and would push most her close friends away and I didn't want her to have no friends and a dog of a man. We split up and she fucked my friend. Then I was left thinking I should have just gave all her friends my. And now her friends don't want it. They just toxic. Story 49 that the reason I don't want to be physically intimate with her is because she's not emotionally attractive to me anymore. I don't want to be meaningless. Story 50 no real big secrets, but I probably don't share how lonely I am day to day. I am at home with the kids full time which I love, but as a dad guy, it's socially isolating she knows, but maybe not as much as I really completely let on. I have never hung out with anyone in the town I live in, not once, and it's been years, it's sad to even text. Maybe I will take it down later. Story 51 just recently broke up but I kept secret about how much money I had put away, no malice in it. I just save up for the future but I knew that if she knew that, the dynamic would change and she'd have an expectation that I splash more money and it would just result in arguments. Story 52 that I love her truly so much but I don't want or see myself with her in the future. She is one of my best friends but our relationship is codependent and I am afraid to tell her that I want to do things she doesn't like without her. Whenever I have talked about hanging with friends any time during the weekend, she gets upset because she doesn't want to do said activity with me and my friends and then gets upset that it's taking time away from her. I spend 5 days a week with her and every weekend. I feel like I'm never allowed to deviate from that. I also have to invite her to whatever I'm doing even though I know she doesn't want to. I like so much of what we do have and don't want to lose many parts of our relationship, but I don't want to have to fear my partner and want to be able to have relationships with my friends outside of my relationship. Story 53 as a 20-year-old college student in a 5-year relationship, I feel as if I'm missing out on the college life. I'm unable to go out, sleep around and whatever else. I know that sleeping around barely ever goes well. She's the only person I've ever slept with and I'm curious about what it's like to sleep with other women. Story 54 I stopped initiating because he would turn me down way too often. I'm sick of the rejection. So now we're not even 8 months in and I'm fed up by his lack of drive. Story 55 that his read heads fetish is destroying my confidence as well as him checking out other women and saying to me unless you physically get involved with a man I don't care so I'm free to check out other men and make comments. In my eyes you are the one and only, the others are just background characters. No matter how hot they are I wish he thought the same about me. Story 56 I was sort of brainwashed into indisputable loyalty towards family by my parents. Shortly after I had graduated high school, my father fell very ill, as he had been a heavy smoker and alcoholic for most of his life. But he survived again and again. I became his sole caretaker for many years. My father is not a good person, and he treated all of us terribly, maybe even horribly, especially when he was incapacitated. My view on him changed during that time. He took advantage of me as if I was a soulless tool to use as he pleased. Later on, he received a modern operation that gave him back a lot of his autonomy. So I left to attend university. I never told my ex about this. I was afraid that he would look down on my family or our culture. While I have forgiven them for the most part, today, I keep clear from my father at gatherings. I seek harmony. The ex has since long broken up with me. I'm pretty sure he was looking down on me regardless, mainly for my status as a student that late in my 20s. He was wrong for that, but I was wrong for feeling insecure like that and keeping secrets. These days, I am 100% honest, even if it pains me to admit some things. But at least I feel authentic, and I am giving people the chance to show me who they are, judging from their reaction. Story 57 that yes, his disability affects everything about my life in a negative way. I love him, but chronic pain and the subsequent outbursts, anger, frustration and sadness are awful to tolerate, when it is aimed at you and your kid, just because we are there, having to do all the heavy chores and most of the light ones too. It's difficult to plan outdoor activities because he doesn't want to use assistive devices to make a hike or load into a campsite easier. I swear sometimes he resents me for being born with all my parts, and is just bitter and angry about something neither of us can solve. Story 58. I commented one already, but I have another one. So back on our first date, I accidentally told him that my favorite flowers are coral pink roses. I'm actually not sure if this was true at any point, but I feel like that's the biggest lie I've ever told him. The truth is that at the time we met for our first date, I had read a story about a girl whose favorite flowers are coral pink roses and a gear former lover who brings a bouquet of coral pink roses to her grave every week, and I remember loving the story and wishing something so romantic, hopefully not as sad, that would happen to me as well. Being that I didn't know I would become so serious about this guy, my current boyfriend, back when we were a third into our first date, I accidentally told him that coral pink roses are my favorite flowers. I'm not really sure why I really said that, and I thought about telling him that they're actually not my favorite, except he brought me a single coral pink flower on our second date. Then in both the flower bouquets he has brought to me since we became official, they always included a coral pink flower. I don't not love the flower, but I feel very strongly that I actually hate the color itself, for a flower. I can't imagine how the dead girl in the post-it was just a fictional story. I actually liked them. Like, girl, are you sure you weren't half blind? Still, I really love the flower, just because my boyfriend has remembered every single time to include it in the bouquet that he brings me. I'm probably never going to tell him the truth voluntarily, but maybe I can show him this post once we have a family and we need a good story to tell our kids. Story 59. Sexuality. But the gay half of me is a depraved sissy that desires to be a girl or at least be feminized. She knows I'm bi, but not how deep it goes. Story 60. I've watched his videos with him playing piano on YouTube before. He doesn't even know that I know about them. He plays so beautifully. Sometimes he sends me a video. Story 61. I 22 don't know if I love her 21F or if I hate the situation we are in. The apartment is always dirty. Even when I try to clean, it gets brought back to its normal state of clothes lying around, mounds of dishes by her desk where she works and games, and just all around no cleaning up after herself. We moved into an apartment together very quickly. Her parents pulled her from college here and demanded she came back to her home state, and we had been dating for about 3 months at that time. She suggested we just get an apartment together and it would be cheaper for me to move and then stay in the dorms. I admit I am a very big yes man in situations and of course didn't stick up for me or my future. We moved in a week later to an okay apartment in the middle of nowhere. Still went to university and worked a ton. I was drained most days and she works a full-time job and pays the rent. I pay utilities and other bills. She asked one day if we could get a dog so she had company while I was either working or at college during the day. I agreed that I'm open to a dog, but at this point we had only been in the apartment for about 2 months. While on my break at work one day, I saw a Facebook post about a dog that needed rehomed immediately because he was being bullied by other dogs at his home, so I figured why not get him and make her happy. Messaged them and agreed to pick him up the next day. Brought him home and there were for sure some issues. He was scarred and extremely malnourished. We handled it, got him to the vet and tried to train him. Not much has worked. He can't keep a routine and constantly daily and nightly pees and poops inside and never poops outside. I have tried for over a year to get this dog to go outside and nothing has budged. He also barks at us when we are not giving him attention. 247. When we try to go to sleep he will growl, nip and bark at you until you pet him. She doesn't help because she tries to reason with him like he's a person, but he's not. I have to sit there for 2 hours every night and pet him until he passes out. If you stop for a moment you have to restart the timer completely, and I am so tired. I haven't slept well for so long. I'm at my edge. I have been to therapists and doctors just to give me pills to stop my depression at this point. I have cried myself to sleep many nights because I am so unhappy, but the thought of leaving her and him or getting rid of him upsets me. I care for both. I have had thoughts of just biting the big one, but I can't do it. I can't put my family through it because we have had a few close relatives do the same. I don't have much hope anymore though. I am so lonely and lost. My depression derailed my college completely, and I was kicked out this last semester. What to do? Story 62. I drive for a living. The biggest secret I keep from my wife is how many times I've almost been seriously injured or killed at work. She doesn't need to worry about that. Just today I had a guy fly through a red light when I was first in line for the green. Fortunately, I saw him coming, but one of these days I might not see the threat coming. Story 63. We broke up last year after being together from 2018 to 2024, but I hid from him that I got assaulted by my coworker at a party back in 2021. I hid it because he was very jealous and reactive, and I knew he would have made the situation worse for me than it already was. It was really hard because I was severely traumatized for a while, but had to hold it in and secretly deal with it around him. Story 64. I don't hate you, but I don't think you're a good man anymore, and that's worse really. And after the kid gets settled with graduating HS and starting college, I'm divorcing you, and after it's final, I'm going to try my damnedest to never speak to you again. I wish you well. But the thought of giving you any more years of my life makes me want to drive into a bridge abutment. Story 65. I don't think he is a great artist. I think he had the potential to be good, but never found his thing and believes that understanding the technicalities of a brushstroke means he is good at said brushstroke. He often tries to give me advice when I am painting, and while I listen, I struggle with taking any advice from someone whose art is mediocre at best. Thankfully, art is not how he makes money.